hello everyone. My name is Julia Castellane and I'm the Operations Manager here at Just Cruises. On behalf of the whole Just Cruises team, I welcome you to this live with Princess Cruises. It has been a devastating year for the travel industry and cruising in particular. And as we marked a year since the pause of the operations here in Australia and in many countries around the world. We are Australian-owned and operated business, and we were founded back in 2009. It is fair to say it has been the most heartbreaking year in our 11-year history. We thank you for your patience and understanding during this difficult time and assure you that we're here for you to help you to plan for the future travels when the time is right and it is safe to do so. We love cruising and love to assist you in planning your cruise holiday. While we're all waiting for the Australian government decision to allow the cruising to resume operations, we thought it is important to let our Just Cruises customers know what the cruise lines are doing at this time and how they're preparing for the safe return to bring you the most memorable experience. We have invited Princess Cruises representative David Craven here today. Welcome, David. David has been with Princess Cruises for over 8 years, combining his valuable experience on board Princess Fleet and working as business development manager in the past 4 years. David has wealth of knowledge and will share with us all things about Princess Cruises and the plans of Princess Cruises moving forward. David, can you tell me, what is your favorite ship? What is your favorite Princess ship?
Hello, thank you so much for having us. And that is a great question. We are actually live right now on Facebook Live. So if you are watching this on Facebook Live, feel free to add your comments. I'd love to know what your favorite ship is as well. For myself, my very first ship I ever worked on was the Island Princess. And I loved it so much, I extended twice and spent nearly a year without leaving that ship. I just loved it so much. So I've always got a bit of a soft spot. But I think my favorite ship is the Sapphire Princess because whilst doing the Hawaii itineraries in Mexico, I met my lovely wife working on board. So massive soft spot for the Sapphire Princess. Adore that ship. But to be fair, I mean, there's just so many great ships. I don't know, what's your favorite ship, Julia?
I do love the Sapphire enormously as well. Yes, so it's just nothing probably at this stage can compare with the experience you have and the facilities of the ship and the crew. How we're missing the crew. That's the great part, not just only for the business, but for all the experiences we have got. And I'm certainly looking forward to Coral Princess. So when it comes to Australia, but I'm sure you'll tell us all about it as well.
It is very exciting. And again, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, feel free to add in the comments. We'd love to know what your favorite ships are.
And I think the question which everyone has got on his or her mind at the moment, when do you think we will come back and resume cruising?
Resume cruising. It is the question pretty much on everybody's lips right now. There are some massively positive news out there. So, for instance, since December last year, there's been over 100,000 guests who have cruised from Singapore. So cruising has resumed elsewhere in the world. And hopefully you will have seen the news that cruising is resuming service from the UK in June. So we've actually started sending our ships to Southampton to prepare for service from June, July for this year. And hopefully we're also looking to resume service from the US. So we are definitely getting there, but the question, I suppose, is when are we cruising domestically? Because we still do have the international travel ban. Now, the most important thing that we want all of our guests to do is feel confident about cruising, whether it be on board, but most importantly, cruising or booking their cruise before they embark. I can see Michelle Rowlands, thank you for saying that you love the Royal Princess, booked on the Royal in November. Beautiful. I was really lucky to be part of the inaugural team that to actually launch the Royal Princess. So I adore that ship, and there's a picture here on the banner is me working on the Royal Princess. So fantastic ship, and we can't wait to welcome her this year. But I know a lot of people have booked for this forthcoming season, and as we move forward, we've got a presentation which will start now. You'll actually see some of the slides that we've prepared for you. So the most important thing before we even come on board and we talk about the changes on board, if you can pop the slide on, the most important things that we need to talk about are booking with confidence. So before we even talk about cruising with confidence, we want you to book with confidence. We have a policy called book with confidence. Okay, so what that means is we want you to feel safe and assured about your finances. So if you're looking to pay for your forthcoming cruise, we don't need to be worrying about whether or not you're going to get a refund or an SEC. Will I lose my deposit? All those different kind of things. So with book with confidence, any booking that you make before June this year for any cruise departing before the end of this year, the final payment date has actually been pushed to 60 days prior to embarkation. So this is giving you that buffer zone to give you the confidence to not worry too much about your finances. Now, if you do make any amendments or changes to that reservation up to 30 days prior to embarkation, any cancellation fees, they will not be lost. So they will not be seen as a cancellation fee. They'll simply convert to a future cruise credit. So feel free and feel confident about your finances for this forthcoming season. Okay, now your finances are safe. A lot of people are saying, what are the changes about the onboard experience? So of course we want you to now cruise with confidence. So the first thing that will be changing are things like the health screening process. So whenever you're embarking on the day of the commencement of your cruise, we will be taking temperature checks of all of our guests prior to embarkation. And we will also be looking to make sure that people have had a COVID test and tested negative, okay? A lot of people are asking, will we be requiring our guests to have a vaccine prior to embarkation? At this moment, we have not confirmed or denied that, okay? We are completely following the guidance of the science community as well as the CDC. And at this moment, we can neither confirm or deny, but please understand that this is a constantly evolving and changing situation. But one thing I can say is that ever since I worked on board from 2011 right through till nearly 2016, all crew on board, it was mandatory to have a flu vaccine. So I don't think it ridiculous to make it mandatory for crew to have this vaccine. But again, we can no longer confirm or deny. We will obviously make any announcement to this, and you can keep up to date on this on princess.com. Okay, so that's where the most up-to-date information can be found. So on top of these regular health screening checks, we will have the heightened sanitation on board. So hopefully you never have experienced it, but if you have experienced one of those gastro outbreaks on board, you will see the heightened level of sanitation on board. It goes through the roof. That will pretty much be the standard sanitation on board the ship. Okay, so heightened levels of disinfection throughout the ship. We will ensure that all of our guests are using the hand gels and regularly washing their hands to make sure that any spread of bugs around the ship is contained. On top of that, another question that people always ask is about the buffets. Will there still be buffets on board? Of course there will be buffets on board. We love the buffet. The only difference is it will be a served buffet. No longer will you be able to self-service. We will enforce the social distance practices on board, but we do have a trick up our sleeves, which I'll come to very, very shortly. And of course, our health department on board has been heightened. So all of our medical teams and medical departments on board the fleet, they actually have ICUs on board. They're incredible facilities with the most up-to-date technology on board. But to combat any kind of COVID outbreaks, we will have things like defibrillators on board. All of the medical team will receive the most up-to-date training on best practice for anything like that. And also, if you ever feel a little bit unwell on the ship, we always used to say, make your way down to the medical department and our medical team will assist you there. That is completely gone. We will ask that you stay in your cabin and we will bring the medical team to you just in case you are testing positive for COVID or something like that. It just gives us a chance to contain it right there and then. And last but not least, We have improved the ventilation system. Now, the new HEPA filtration systems are the best in the industry. Now, the CDC did actually come out last year and say that the ventilation systems cannot actually spread COVID. But the thing is, we did some market research and found that our guests would feel much kind of better, more reassured if we had improved our ventilation system. So we listened, we're going to do it. Just to make sure that you are as confident as physically possible. And of course, we are really working very, very closely with every single destination and local governments to make sure that we're adhering to any of those restrictions that they may have. Okay, so we are doing our best to make sure that you do feel safe on board all of our ships. But the big difference that Princess Cruises have over, I mean, it's way above anything that any other cruise line can offer, and that is the Medallion class experience. So we have announced that every single ship in the fleet will be Medallion class enabled prior to the resumption of cruises. Okay, so the Medallion is right here. I'm wearing it around my neck and a lanyard. So you can see there, it's that little disc. It's about the size of a dollar coin and is now replacing the cruise card. So the cruise cards are gone. We're now going to get the Medallion. The Medallion is the most advanced technology in the industry. It has completely revolutionized the entire cruising experience, and it is delivering the finest cruise service available at sea. So what is the Medallion and what does it do? The Medallion is all about empowering our crew to deliver the finest cruise service available. It's also about expediting the embarkation experience. So no longer are we going to have to wait for an hour to embark the ship, anything like that. It's all about expediting that entire process. And embarkation now is taking anywhere between 7 and 12 minutes. And when I say 7 to 12 minutes, that's 7 minutes from arriving at the cruise terminal, dropping off your luggage, to being upstairs by the pool with a cocktail. Okay, it's all about boarding that ship faster. With the Medallion, it offers keyless stateroom entry, so that's absolutely amazing. As you approach your cabin door, literally just unlocks and you can walk straight in. It's all about keeping you better connected with your fellow travel companions, and there's plenty of opportunities to have fun on board with lots of different games and interactivity. Now, the first thing you need to do when you've booked on board a Medallion class ship, you'll need to become ocean ready. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is head to either the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, and you'll need to download the Medallion class app. Obviously complimentary. And when we first introduced the Medallion, you actually have to download multiple apps. That has all been condensed into this one usable, very friendly app. Okay, so what you need to do is become ocean ready. So all you're going to do once you've downloaded the app is click link my booking, pop in the booking reference, pop in some personal details so we know that it's actually you, and then you can now become ocean ready. What does that mean? We'll need to complete our cruise personalizer like we already do, pop in your credit card information, those kind of bits and bobs. But we'll do some additional steps, okay? We're going to upload a picture, so a kind of selfie, just a very simple picture of your face. What that does, it means that our security team on the day of embarkation no longer need to stand taking pictures of you. It means that you can just walk on the ship. It's all about expediting that experience. It also allows our crew to find out where they're delivering services to, which we'll come to very, very shortly. Okay, once we've completed all of that ocean ready, we can also confirm specialty dining, all those different kind of things. And we can also plan our cruise because you can actually see the entertainment plans. So what's going to be happening on this sea day, what's going to be happening on this port day, so on and so forth, around 14 days, all the way up to 5 days before embarkation. So if you're somebody who likes to dress up for country and western night, you'll be able to see which night it is, make sure there is a country and western night, which is great. And then, you know, you can pack your country and western gear and you know which night you're going to be enjoying that. Okay, so we've become ocean ready. We come to the cruise terminal with our luggage. We drop our luggage off. As we approach our check-in desk, we literally show them our identification, receive our Medallion, and walk on board the ship, which is fantastic. And like I said earlier, because you have the Medallion on you, as you approach your cabin door, it just unlocks. So no longer do you need to be fumbling around, trying to find your cruise card, all those different kind of things. Just literally walk up to the door, use your elbow, and you're straight in, which is really handy when you're coming down from the buffet and you've got a plate full of donuts and coffees. Now I can see there a question coming out saying, what's your favorite Medallion feature? We will come to my favorite Medallion feature, and ironically, it is all to do with food and drink. So we're now on board. We're getting ourselves comfy. What happens on the day of embarkation? Most people get lost, okay? People are getting lost around the ship. And typically on the day of embarkation, we need to do our muster station drill. No longer do you need to do that. You simply watch the drill in your stateroom, and then you need to head to your muster station where the Medallion ticks you off. Easy peasy. So now we wander around the ship, taking it in. It's a brand new ship. We've never been on board. We get a little bit lost. Now, using the Medallion app on your phone or using those giant portals around the ship, you simply tap on your Medallion and say, where is the buffet? Where is the theatre? And it will navigate you around the ship. Where's my cabin? Awesome. You'll never get lost again. But also, it actually keeps you better connected with your fellow travel companions. So it's a typical thing. Whenever I'm cruising with my wife, on formal night, my wife always loves to get her nails done, get her hair done. She wants to be looking as glamorous and as gorgeous as she possibly can. Now, before the Medallion, we'd have to try and say, look, you're going to be about an hour and a half here. Let's meet on the port side in between these two bars at this time, and I'll be on this chair. It was really difficult to try and stay connected. With the Ocean Medallion, you can simply say, where is my fellow travel companion? So it's not to say where everybody is on the ship, but only the people that you're traveling with. Where is my wife? Where are the kids? Okay. Not only will it let you know where they're located, it will actually give you the best direction to actually find them. So it's really great for those multi-generation traveling with children. So you kind of go, where the heck are the kids gone? You can have a look on the app. Now, if you want to be hidden and you don't want to be found, you can go incognito. Okay. So if you don't want to be found, absolutely fine. You can turn that feature off. But if you are under the age of 18 and a child, you cannot turn that feature off because we all know that they're monkeys and they'll play hide and seek. All right. So it's a really great feature and one that I know that all of our guests are absolutely loving because it keeps them better connected. Now, another wonderful feature about the Ocean Medallion is all about service. Okay. Now, imagine the scenario. We're upstairs by the pool. It's a beautiful, hot, sunny day, but we want to drink. Okay. No longer do you need to get up, wait in a queue to order your drink. You simply order the Medallion on your on-demand device and we will bring it to you. In fact, you know, I want some food. Order the food. We will bring it to you. But on top of that, say in your stateroom, if you wanted to change the pillows, if you've woken up with a bit of a headache because you had far too much to drink yesterday, order it on the app. We will bring it to you. It's all about making sure that you focus on your cruise, do what you want to do, and it empowers our crew to deliver the finest service available. That's it. That's it, Janet. That's exactly what it's all about. No more faffing around, no more signing for stuff. Everything is completely contactless. You simply order a drink, we'll bring it to you. Food, everything. But even your in your stateroom, so if you wanted a bathroom robe and things like that, our crew will bring it to you. You know what? I forgot to bring some moisturizer. Order it, we will bring it to your cabin. So it's all about you focusing on your cruise experience and our crew looking after you. So next slide. Sorry about that, guys. Beautiful. So you can see just an array there of different services that are offered. And again, if you wanted room service, if you wanted drinks in your cabin, you can order them and we will bring it to you. It actually helps our crew as well. So they're not kind of feeling like they're not servicing you very well. They actually feel really empowered. And what's lovely is the Medallion allows them to always see every single passenger's name. So they'll always greet you personally. So it's really like a family feel on board. It really is something that our guests are loving. So there are some enhanced features. Obviously, this technology is constantly developing and evolving. Now, like I said, embarkation is completely seamless, but it is also contactless. So when you arrive at the cruise terminal, simply show them the ID, get your Medallion, just walk straight on. So that's really, really great in terms of any contact, you know, due to COVID, things like that. As I mentioned earlier, the new safety passenger drill, no longer do you need to sit in the muster station for an hour and a half, listening to all the safety drill advice. That can be done through the app or in your stateroom. And then all that we ask is that you literally go via your muster station on the day of embarkation so that you do know where you need to go in the highly unlikely chance of an emergency on board. We will be doing daily health questionnaires, just checking in. How are you feeling? Do you have a temperature? Feeling a bit unwell? All those different kind of things, just so that we can make sure that nobody is kind of spreading anything that we don't want them to spread. And then one amazing feature as well that we've just announced is a real-time visibility into the venue. Okay, so what that means is if you're upstairs watching a great film on Movies Under the Stars, but now you go, look, should we go and watch the theatre in the Princess Theatre? You can look on the Medallion class app and you can see how many people are actually in that venue. So you can see that there's far too many people. You go, you know what, we're not going to be able to get a seat. Let's just stay where we are, okay? Or we can actually have a look and see what some of the other entertainment is going on around the ship. I can see there's plenty of availability for seating. Let's go and do that. So it gives you the chance to navigate your way around the ship and do the things that you want to do. So you're not going to be queuing up, wasting time, faffing around, trying to find a seat and all those different kind of things. So I know you're going to love the Medallion just as much as we do. And hopefully we will be introducing our ship into the waters around October. Nothing has changed from our point of view. We are still aiming to resume service here in Australia from October. Obviously with this new New Zealand bubble, as long as that goes well, and it seems like there's no reason why it shouldn't, as long as that goes well, that's going to be a great laying a great foundation towards the resumption of service, hopefully towards the second half of this year. But if you wanted to look a little bit further down the road and be booking into the future, we have announced our 22-23 season from Australia and New Zealand, and this includes our World Cruise in 2023. So we do have an awful lot of product available for 22 and 23, and we're also announcing our 22-23 seasons for Europe, the Americas, for South America, for Alaska, for Asia, for Japan. So if you are looking further down the line, we are announcing an awful lot of itineraries going well into 2023. So what's exciting about this launch? This is actually the largest launch we've had for the Australian market, with 4 Medallion class ships sailing from Australia. They're all going to be Medallion class, as I mentioned earlier, offering 76 itineraries to 68 destinations with more time ashore. So what that means is you will not be setting sail any earlier than 10 p.m. You're getting a full morning, an afternoon, an evening, and a night in that port of call to really make sure you're getting the most out of that destination. The sailing from Sydney, we do have 2 of our Royal class of ships. We are welcoming back for the 3rd summer season in Australia, the Majestic Princess, absolutely adored by all who have sailed on her. You've got the beautiful Hollywood Conservatory, that indoor swim area, as well as highlighting some of the most beautiful dining experience available at sea. I can just see a question here from Pam Martin. Great question. Do you receive the Medallion in Australia before embarkation? You do not receive that in Australia before embarkation. Only in the US do you receive it at home. And currently in Australia, you will receive the Medallion on the day of embarkation, but it is something that we are looking towards in the future. But great question. So alongside the Majestic primarily sailing from Sydney, we are also welcoming for the first time the Royal Princess. So she is yet to sail in our waters. She is scheduled to be sailing down for this forthcoming season. The first of the Royal class. She is a stunning ship with all of those fantastic dining experience from the new revitalized Sabatini Trattoria, as well as the Crown Grill. And anyone traveling with those young children, I can definitely assure you that the Royal Princess has by far the best youth facilities on board our fleet. Princess are fantastic for children of all ages. The best way to think of Princess are we are family friendly, not family focused. Okay, so we're fantastic for children, but the Royal Princess in particular has a huge area for children aged all the way from 3 up to 17. If you are aged between 12 and 17, you'll find yourself in the beach house. They have their own jacuzzi space. They have their own outdoor nightclub. They've got the most amazing facilities. So honestly, if you are traveling with children, they will be desperate to get up to the youth centre. It really is fantastic. For all of our people down towards the southern part of Australia, from Adelaide, from Melbourne, we are introducing the Grand Princess for the very first time. If you've sailed on the Golden Princess or the Star Princess, then you will feel right at home with the Grand Princess, because she is a sister to those two beautiful ships, offering everything from great dancing areas, as well as dining in Crown Grill, shack thing. And last but not least, primarily sailing from Brisbane, we have the fantastic Coral Princess. Before the Coral Princess is making her way down here, we had the Sun as well as the Sea Princess. They were firm favourites of the fleet, and I know that they were truly loved. And a lot of people have been very sad to see the Sun and Sea go. You don't need to be too upset, because the Coral Princess is larger than the Sun class. She's taller, she's longer, she's around 20,000 gross tons more. So that's more entertainment space, more dining options, more ship. However, she's got about the same passenger capacity. So we're getting a more ship, more options, better cruising experience with the same passenger capacity. So she's going to be a great ship. And she's also going to be doing the 2023 World Cruise, available from Sydney, Brisbane and Auckland. So having a look at some itineraries, kicking off with departures from Sydney, offering an absolutely fantastic array of departures. We've got Queensland, we've got Tasmania, which is proving to be a very, very popular destination, and rightly so, because it is gorgeous down there. We've got plenty of options to get down across the ditch. We've got, I believe, 11 options to get across the ditch from Sydney, 11 or 13, I believe. We've got plenty of options if you're looking to see the far out across the ditch, but I think we actually have more options to get to the South Pacific than any other gateway. So we have 6 options to get out towards the South Pacific, including Fiji. So if you are looking to get to the South Pacific, I definitely recommend departing from Sydney. On top of that, we do have the 35-night Hawaii Tahiti Bora Bora. Remember, Princess are the only cruise line to offer Hawaii round trip from Australia. But one really popular itinerary is our 28-night circumnavigation of Australia. Now, this is one of the fastest selling cruises that we always have, departing from Australia. But one thing to highlight with this departure is that there are no international ports. Now, normally on this itinerary, we dip into PNG, into Alotau, but as you can see, we have removed that PNG port of call, and we have added in a port in the Kimberleys called Kuri Bay. So not only we will get that beautiful scenic cruising through the Kimberley coast, we're now going to actually have a port of call in Kuri Bay, and you can do this on a driver's license, because we are only staying in Australia, which is fantastic. We do prefer a passport, but you're fine with the driver's license, absolutely peachy. Not only can you do that from Sydney, but we do have options round trip from Brisbane as well as Perth. Now, looking towards the Sunshine State up in Queensland, which is where I am based, we've got all those great cruises, again, heading down to New Zealand. We've got the beautiful Papua New Guinea cruises. I can see a question there from Janice White. Yes, the Coral Princess will be doing the World Cruise in 2022 as well as 2023, and we'll be having a look at the itinerary for 2023 very, very shortly. Now, not only are we doing that full circumnavigation from Brisbane, we also have the Northern Explorer going from Brisbane to Fremantle or vice versa. This is a really popular option for people who are looking to combine that with the Indian Pacific Railway. Now, that truly is one iconic holiday. So it's taking in the most beautiful part of the northern part of Australia and then making your way through the centre of it via rail, which is really, really iconic. At the end of her season, the Royal Princess will be leaving Brisbane and making her way up to Hong Kong. So that's a 16-night option, which is available from Brisbane. But also, not only can you do the 35-night option round trip from Sydney, you can do it from Brisbane as well. So we're going to have 3 options, which is fantastic. Again, like I said, the Hawaii Tahiti Bora Bora 35-night option, we're the only cruise line to offer Hawaii round trip. Every other cruise line, it tends to be a trans-Pacific one-way itinerary, so you need to take flights. Or you can actually cruise in Hawaii with Norwegian, but it's US dollars on board and things like that. You need to worry about flights. With Princess, with it being round trip from Australia, it is AUD currency on board and no gratuities. So this is a really fantastic itineraries for those who have got 35 nights to spend on board, about 5 weeks, which is beautiful. Not only can you do it from Sydney and Brisbane, but we do offer it from Auckland as well. Now, looking at our other gateways, namely down the southern parts of Australia, plenty of options on board the Grand Princess as well as the Royal Princess. As the Royal Princess makes her way from Asia down to Australia, normally they kind of go through Asia and go down the east coast, but as you can see here, she's actually making her way down the west coast and then down into the southern part. So you can actually get off in Adelaide or Melbourne on board the Royal Princess as she makes her way to Australia. Aboard the Grand Princess, you can do the round trips to New Zealand, or you can even do a round trip New Zealand available from Adelaide. So 17 nights or 19 nights. The 19 night will include places like Port Lincoln and Kangaroo Island. If you were looking to do the Queensland coast or the South Pacific, then those options are available from Melbourne. I can see when will be the first cruises from Sydney. The ships will be migrating in October, so they'll be available October, November for 22, heading into our 23 season. So other departures that we've got available from Australia, we've got some incredible itineraries from Fremantle. So not only do we have that Northern Explorer making your way from Fremantle to Brisbane or vice versa, that circumnavigation of Australia available from Sydney, Brisbane and Fremantle. One of my favourite cruises from this entire launch is this incredible 10-night Coral Coast, taking in some of the most beautiful destinations of Australia, namely places like Exmouth, Broome, taking in that stunning port of call Curry Bay up in the Kimberley coast. So that 10-night itinerary is selling really, really well. If you are interested in that, make sure you are booking nice and quickly. In fact, that 10-night Coral Coast, the circumnavigation of Australia, the Northern Explorer and the World Cruise are selling so quick. Make sure you are booking now to secure your space on those sailings because they are really, really popular. On top of Fremantle, we do also have departures available from Auckland. You've been asking for them. We've now finally provided round trip options available from Auckland. So there in the bottom right hand side, you can see taking in best of the North and South Island as well as Brisbane. But if it was one-way departures that you were interested in, we do offer one-way departures from either Brisbane or from Sydney as well. And along with Sydney and Brisbane, we can of course do that 35-night option round trip from Auckland, but we can also take in the World Cruise available from Auckland. Now, one thing I just wanted to highlight, a lot of people, they kind of see one cruise and they think that that's basically their cruise, that's their holiday. You don't just need to book one cruise. It's always good to have a look and see what the cruise is doing before and after the cruise that you're actually interested in. So I've highlighted some back-to-back packages, which are really good options. So we can see here this departure on the 24th of June, making your way from Adelaide, taking in the beautiful Kangaroo Island, going to Melbourne. Now, the Grand Princess is then making its way to do New Zealand, taking in the North and South Island. So you don't just have to do the 3-night, or you don't have to necessarily fly from Adelaide to Melbourne. You can cruise from Adelaide to Melbourne, taking that beautiful New Zealand cruise, and then it's just a short flight to get back to Adelaide. Alternatively, there's an amazing option departing in February 23 on board the Coral Princess, where you can do a round trip taken in New Zealand, where the Coral Princess, upon returning back to Brisbane, then does the Northern Explorer over to Fremantle. And like I mentioned earlier, why not then do the Indian Pacific Railway to make your way back? So there's really cool itineraries that we can piece together. There's even longer itineraries as well, which I can show on this next slide. So not just those shorter itineraries, we can keep piecing together more and more itineraries. So you can see here, we can do the Northern Explorer, making your way from Fremantle to Sydney. Then from Sydney, there is a 7-night option departing in April, making your way to Auckland. You can then get off in Auckland, and if you wanted to explore New Zealand, you could do that. Or alternatively, you could actually then make your way up towards Vancouver as the ship embarks on its Alaska season. So you can continue to piece together all these different departures, which is really, really cool. Okay. Also, that departure in September on board the Royal Princess, Adelaide to Sydney, it then embarks on that beautiful 14-night Fiji option. Just a bit of advice, if you are looking to if you actually have the time to and you want to extend your cruise itinerary, you don't just need to do one cruise. Have a look and see what the ship is doing before and after, and you can piece together your very own itinerary. Now, on top of this 22-23 launch, we also launched our World Cruise for 2023. An enormous launch on board the Coral Princess. As you can see, they're taken in 26 countries, 44 destinations, visiting over 20 UNESCO World Heritage sites. You're going to cross the equator twice and visit every single continent on Earth, albeit apart from Antarctica. So it is an amazing itinerary, and it's taken in 6 maiden ports of call, which I will highlight shortly. And it has 10 late night stays, which means, again, you are not leaving any sooner than 10 p.m. And we'll have 3 overnight stays in Dubai, in New York, and in Palau. The reason why we overnight in Palau is so you can do that incredible overland tour to take in Machu Picchu. And here she is. It's 107 nights, departing from Auckland on the 31st of May, then making their way up towards Sydney, departing in June. 6th of June, she leaves Brisbane on her world voyage. So the maiden ports of call, we've got the beautiful port of call of Salerno. Then we're also taking in Marseille in France. We've got Malaga in Spain, Cork, Belfast, and Invergordon up in Scotland. The reason why we're dipping in there is because that is the gateway through to Loch Ness. So if you want to go on the hunt for Nessie, that's the port of call today. Any of those red dots that you see, that means that that's a late night departure, and any red squares mean that they are an overnight. I can see a great question coming in from Karen Chi. When will the Circle Pacific return? Great question. At the moment, there is no plan for it to return at this moment in time. And obviously, when the dust settles after last year, then we can start looking at getting more of those longer itineraries. But of course, with the Sun and Sea leaving the fleet, we do have less options to actually offer those longer itineraries. But of course, it was a super popular cruise, and we would love to bring it back. So watch this space. Now, if you don't have the full 107 nights to do the full world voyage, you can break it up into what we call world cruise liners. So you can do a half world cruise. You can make your way from Australia to Dover in the UK. That's your half world cruise. You can also make your way from Dover back to Australia. You can go from Sydney to New York. You can go from Brisbane to Dover, and you can of course go from Auckland to Dover. So you can do your half world cruises, or a kind of three-quarter length, going from Australia or Australia to New York. But again, these are about 52 nights, 70 nights. If that's too long, again, you can break it up further with what we call world cruise segments. So you can go from here to Dubai, Dubai to Dover, Dover to New York, and of course, New York back to Australia. Now, the great thing is, this is the Australian Kiwi World Cruise for the Australian market. So it doesn't matter whether you're doing a shorter segment or the full world cruise, it will be AUD currency on board and no gratuities to worry about. So if you're doing the Dover to New York segment, and you just wanted to highlight that northern part of Europe, it will be AUD currency on board and no gratuities to worry about. Okay, so it is for the Australian market, which is great. Okay, now make sure you're booking and securing your space nice and early. And by doing so, we do have early booking benefits. So when we're looking at the World Cruise for 2023, you can receive up to $4,000 early booking benefits, and they're broken down into 2 segments. As long as you are booking before the 30th of November this year, you can receive bonus onboard credit. Okay, if you are booking before the end of November this year and booking the full World Cruise, you will receive $1,000 per person onboard credit. If you're booking one of those cruise liners and it's longer than 50 nights, you can receive $400 per person, or one of those world cruise segments, you will receive $100 per person on board credit. And to say a huge thank you to all of our loyal Princess cruisers, we do have Captain Circle savings. So if you have cruised with Princess before and have booked the world cruise, the full world cruise, you will receive $1,000 per person saving off the launch fare price. Okay, if you're booking one of the world cruise liners, $500 per person. One of the segments between 30 and 34 nights, $200 per person. And one of the shorter segments, 21 or 22 nights, you will receive $100 per person saving off the launch fare, just to say a thank you for your loyalty. Now, for any bookings that you're making for the domestic launch, so the 22-23 summer season, as long as you are booking before the 30th of November, again, for those people who have cruised with Princess, to say thank you for your loyalty, you can receive savings of up to $100 per person off those launch fare prices. Now, by booking through Just Cruises, they do also have additional benefits, and make sure you're having that conversation with the team at Just Cruises, and they're only going to be eligible through Just Cruises. Now, running through till the end of May, we also have our Twice as Nice promotion, where you can receive up to $400 onboard credit for selected departures, depending on which cabin choice you have made. So if you are sailing on an interior or ocean view, on selected cruises, you can receive $200 or up to $200 onboard credit. However, if you are going into a balcony or above, it becomes doubly nice, and you can receive up to $400 onboard credit. Again, to say thank you to all of our loyal Princess cruisers, this can actually be thrice as nice. And if you have cruised with Princess before, you can actually receive up to $600 on board credit. So make sure you are making the most of that wonderful promotion, which is going through till the end of May. Now, I know everyone is desperate to get back out on the water. I just wanted to take this picture that one of my friends did, and that they took whilst the Royal Princess, or it was the Majestic Princess, was in the water. Hashtag we will be back. A lot of people are saying, look, it's been a long time since we've been cruising. We are in a fantastic position, and we cannot wait to get you back on board. And we are very, very close now. We genuinely are. Getting towards the light at the end of the tunnel. Have you heard that the Australian government is going to allow cruising soon? Like I said earlier, we are still working towards October as our resumption of cruising for Princess Cruises. A lot of our itineraries are resuming service in November. Like I said earlier, we've had over 100,000 people cruising from Singapore. Cruising is starting up again in Europe. It looks like North America will be resuming towards the first or the third quarter of this year. So we are definitely getting there. Must have had the vaccine to get on the cruise. As I mentioned earlier, at this moment, we have not confirmed that. But for any up-to-date information, make sure you are regularly going to princess.com, clicking on that health and travel advisory. That is the best way to get the most up-to-date information on all of those things. Now, last slide I just wanted to share with you. Princess Cruises is based with upon 30,000 people shoreside, as well as on board, and our crew cannot wait to get back on board and welcome you on board. Everyone who works on board is so passionate about what they do, and they just can't wait to get you back on board. So hopefully we'll be getting you back on board around Q4 of this year, October, November, December. And I myself cannot wait to get back on board as well. I cannot wait to see the world on board a Princess ship, especially enjoying the Ocean Medallion service. So with that, I think we will welcome back Julia. Thank you to everyone who's been adding all of those great questions. If you do have any questions, feel free to add them into that Facebook live account. And thank you so much to Julia and all the fantastic team at Just Cruises who are working diligently, making all of those new bookings, making sure that you're up to date with all your future cruise credits, and providing you with all those great bonus and additions to your future bookings.
Thank you so much, David, from the bottom of my heart for such a comprehensive update. And we're looking forward to the resumption of operations. And one of the news also was we're looking forward to see the new Brisbane cruise terminal as well, which we haven't mentioned, but yes, so we'll hopefully when we'll come back to sail back again, Brisbane will be seeing the new cruise terminal. Thank you so much, everyone. We will put this presentation recording on Facebook. We will endeavor also to put it on our YouTube channel, but you just need to stay tuned. Yes, and we're here and looking forward to sailing again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day.